The partners displayed here today have been quite instrumental in supporting our education work. But if we're to get to the vision of quality education as described in SDG 4, every one of us has a part to play.
As students, parents, teachers, community leaders, development partners, I strongly encourage all of you to check out the Education Data Hub and learn about the performance of schools in your communities over the last years, and also check out the facilities of the schools to which you send your children. In order for us to achieve this vision of quality education, it is our collective responsibility to get involved, to ask the right questions, and learn together.
Imagine a Sierra Leone where students are literate, can do math, can communicate well, can code, and can grow to become civic leaders. That's the Sierra Leone we hope to build together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kumba and Wilsina, for that presentation. At this stage, we hope that you can now begin to believe in our collective national vision to use science, technology, and innovation to support and accelerate national development, and to know that this is possible. At DSTI, we don't just believe in and work towards the future. We also work with citizens to solve our problems of today. We're aware of the connectivity issues we face as a nation, and so we build tools that are accessible without internet. To tell you, and most importantly, show you just what I'm talking about, are two of our very hard-working staff who make it possible for people like me to come on stage and brag about the excellent job that we do at the STI. Is Mr. Pascal Igbenda and Mr. Ibrahim Bayo.
Whether you own a smartphone or a feature phone, there is a technology which does not need internet connectivity to perform, nor does it depend on the model of phone you're using. That technology is called USSD, which simply means Unstructured Supplementary Service Data. And I'm here today to tell you about the Government of Sierra Leone USSD portal on *468#. As of the 2013 Demographic and Health Survey, about 55% of households had mobile phones, and that will have increased greatly by now. However, 20% of Sierra Leone has internet connectivity, of which 3 to 5% is broadband, while mobile internet on 3G, 4G, or 2G accounts for the rest. The Ministry of Information and Communication have developed a USSD regulation policy that is geared towards economic and social transformation. Our telco friends have seen the need for improvement in the digital space, so there are high competition right now in how they can capture the undeserved and underserved areas. USSD as of today has been one of the most impactful mobile technologies in Africa that has changed and revolutionized the digital space in Africa. For example, there's M-Pesa in Kenya, which is a USSD platform that came about as a collaboration between a telco and a bank. M-Pesa today accounts for over 48% of the GDP of Kenya, which is about 3.6 trillion Kenyan shillings, or 29 billion euros. Approximately 93% of the Kenyan population have access to M-Pesa, and that has increased financial inclusion greatly. There is also Mom Connect, which is an initiative of the South African National Department for Health and aims to develop and support the maternal health issue in South Africa. The overall objective of the Moms Connect was to introduce a mechanism for registering electronically all pregnancies in the public health system as early as possible. It was also necessary and came about to send promoted text messages to pregnant women that would improve their health and that of their babies. It also came about because there was imperative issue in which it was necessary for pregnant women to give feedback on the services they received. This application has helped to reduce the maternal mortality rate of South Africa to a great extent. Delivering services to people is at the heart of what most government agencies do. And these services are the most tangible interactions between the citizens and their governments. Services are therefore critical in shaping trust and perception in the public sector. What if a group of people traveling to a unknown location in the provinces need to access a community health clinic, to access emergency services? Or what if a parent visiting a child's school wants to report on the absence of school materials in that school? Or a vegetable farmer in Warawara Bafodia in the Koinadogo district wants to know where he can source vegetable seeds for the next planting season. Or a teacher in my village, Serabu, Bo district, wanting to know whether the 15% deduction from her salary for nurses has been paid into her account and can verify firsthand that her contributions are up to date. All these and more can be done with simple USSD technology, which can work on any kind of mobile phone and can be accessed even without internet connection. At DSTI, we follow 4 design principles where we capture data, store the data, analyze it, and present that data in formats that citizens can use. After going through our normal 4 design principles, we needed a USSD platform to play and learn. And the telcos were very generous enough to open up their USSD platforms for us to play and also do work at the same time. I'll now invite the showroom to show us the video of how this USSD application works.
Now, I will take you through some of the features of the USSD platform. Even though in this demo we use a smartphone, but this can be done with any feature or PISP phone. The service can be accessed on *468# on Africell and Orange, and by the end of the year will be available on all mobile networks. From the list of services, you can select one for public information, which have more options for public announcements, public holidays, and notable dates. Selecting from public announcements will request from our database where all the public information are stored, and the results will be sent via SMS all the upcoming public announcements for that moment in time. You can also check for emergency contacts for those trouble times when you need to call the police force, fire force, the National Emergency Response Center, and more. We can also help make the education system better by having a citizen engagement feature where parents can report on several issues that the parent or child may have encountered with the school. These issues ranges from school management issues, bullying and violence, bribery, poor school facilities, and more. These reported issues can be used to trigger follow-up calls, dispatch, and other interventions. The USSD platform is an ever-growing set of features, and we hope to collaborate with other MDAs to identify more use cases for service delivery to citizens. I urge you to try out the platform as it is now live. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, High Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, that is demo or die. And now we have arrived at the segment where we are all here today to learn about the National Innovation and Digital Strategy, what it is, its philosophy and principles. Next in line is someone I truly have the special honor of inviting. He has given countless of young people a chance, including myself. He does so much, there's a myth he has a third brain. I am the lucky one he gets to call his third brain. Ladies and gentlemen, my boss, the Chief Innovation Officer, Dr. Moinina David Senge.
3 years ago, I met someone in a small coffee shop in London who changed my life. 1 year ago, I met a set of young, amazing, talented people who changed my life even more. Every day I walk into the lab, the lab at State House, I'm inspired and I feel lucky. You've just seen the snapshots of the amazing things I get to do and see every day. Today, as the STI turns 1, we pause to celebrate. Congratulations, team. But today is not about the past. Today is about the future. A future where the name Sierra Leone is synonymous with innovation. A future where the children of Sierra Leone can access quality learning materials through solutions developed by their peers. In that future, any farmer will have the information they need at their fingertips to increase the outputs of their farms by several folds. In that future, a sick patient will know precisely which health facilities to visit in order to receive quality and affordable health care from well-trained staff. And in that future, a grandmother, my grandmother in the village, in Samaling or Nganyao or Masao, will not need to travel from those places to get a government-issued passport in Freetown, because efficient government services will be available to anyone, everywhere. Your Excellency, today is a major day in our journey to that future as we humbly invite you to launch the Sierra Leone National Innovation and Digital Strategy 2019 to 2029. While today feels momentous, and yes, we must celebrate as a nation at all the incredible work being done and demoed by young technical Sierra Leoneans, many of whom are women, all across government, this is only the beginning. And we are putting our stakes in the ground as a nation of big dreams. Before I say more about the National Innovation and Digital Strategy, NEEDS for short, there are 2 things to note. Firstly, this strategy is a living document. We know that technology changes so quickly that within a couple of years, many of the things will become redundant, and the solutions we're designing for our challenges now may not even work. That means, as a country, we each have the responsibility to continue to shape it, particularly in how we deploy resources and how we choose to solve our collective challenges. Secondly, it is not a Q&A document or a strategy that tells you the how-to, the line-by-line or the play-by-play for everything. That's not the point. Because if we try to tell you how to regulate for public transportation in our cities today, we probably won't design for flying cars in Sierra Leone, and that will be a mistake. So what is NEEDS? The Sierra Leone National Innovation and Digital Strategy is governed by a simple philosophy: digitization for all. Your Excellency, digitization for all isn't just a communication slogan. Rather, it embodies the fact that technology and scientific advances will fail to deliver national development for every citizen if it is not inclusive and available for all. If we are to live by our national motto, unity, freedom, and justice, then everyone must benefit: the literate and the illiterate, urban and rural dwellers, young and old, men, and in particular, women. This philosophy encompasses three main pillars: identity, economy, and governance. The National Civil Registration Authority is already championing the national effort to have an integrated and digitized civil registry for citizen identity. They, under the leadership of my elder brother, Mr. Mohamed Massakoy, are pioneering secure and functional digital identity in Sierra Leone. There is ongoing efforts by other colleagues in government to digitize different identities, including national infrastructure and public assets. The global economy is highly digital. This is why digital economy is a standalone pillar within NEEDS. The Bank of Sierra Leone, the governor and the deputy governor, he and I are always texting each other late at night, is in year 2 of its established regulatory sandbox that serves as a springboard for digitizing the Sierra Leonean economy, thereby helping citizens build wealth in Sierra Leone in both the formal and informal sectors, and also bootstrapping our local startup ecosystem. Last but not least is digital governance. As citizens, we're always looking for quicker, faster, better, and more secure ways to interact with our government. Digital solutions will make it possible for increased trust and shared responsibility for national development, thereby deepening civic participation. Digitization is also essential for supporting and expanding the core function of government: revenue generation and expenditure, and in the process also reduce corruption in support of the great work done by my other brother Francis. And this will ultimately increase transparency. This is why it is exciting that the Ministry of Finance in particular and the Ministry of Justice are major champions of this strategy. Your Excellency, in the United Nations E-Government Development Index, Sierra Leone already jumped into the middle tier in 2018 from a lower tier in 2016. We expect that this trend continues in 2020 and beyond. In support of the philosophy and core principles which have been embedded within NEEDS. Now, there are these core principles. The first is, you guessed it, mobile first. Today, there are more connected devices, including mobile phones, than there are people. Sierra Leone has a mobile penetration rate of about 50%, with a 24% mobile internet subscription rate, as you just saw. The National Telecommunications Commission, who have been critical to the success of our work at DSTI, is actively working with the sector and the Ministry of Information and Communication, our other strong allies in this work, to change these numbers quickly. If we believe our philosophy, digitization for all, then the singular technology that will help us achieve that is the mobile phone. We invite our partners to use mobile devices to collect data, to verify individuals, to facilitate economic transactions, and deliver services to people who need them beyond these defined regions where we exist and all throughout the country. Second principle is what we call country as a lab, country as AI lab. Now, the country as AI lab model is one that few countries like Sierra Leone, Rwanda, Estonia are embracing. It is based on the theory that to address the complex societal needs of today, we have to use non-conventional means. We have to use quantitative and qualitative research methods, and we must write code, line by line, to solve our society's problems. Sierra Leone will provide a platform for artificial intelligence and data science research to seed, scale, and translate innovations that will positively impact society. And that is why we're actively engaging our schools and universities to build a strong base for reviving our educational standards. The third principle is hybrid technology. This has been aptly demonstrated why we need that today. When we imagine scenarios as humans, we do so in binary terms. Male or female, lights don't go, lights don't come, the ground dry, the ground soak, on or off. This is what the human brain does. However, modern technology has blurred these lines through the development of what we call hybrid systems and algorithms. Today, smart energy systems are being rolled out across the world. Hybrid cars are commonplace, and often it's never clear to me anyway whether that WhatsApp photo is only saved on my phone or it's syncing in the cloud somewhere. The future will become increasingly hybrid. And that is why Sierra Leone seeks to take global leadership in the design and implementation of these systems using state-of-the-art technologies, including computation on the edge, virtual and augmented reality, and quantum computing. We will do so in collaboration with both established global companies and regional startups. Yes, needs as a strategy is high level, but it does provide some short-term and medium to long-term commitments. For example, ecosystem mapping and strengthening. We need to map the ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship so that governments and partners can invest appropriately. Such kinds of activities will allow us to take a proper stock of our capacity in ways we have never done before. This will inform our policies and regulatory frameworks and guide the development of programs and incentives to ensure we have the right set of resources in place for innovation. We need to establish standards for data collection, storing, and data sharing. We need defined metrics for evaluation of Sierra Leone's progress in innovation, entrepreneurship, and R&D. It is important that we establish digital tools and infrastructure for securely managing and sharing of confidential citizen data using state-of-the-art cybersecurity methods. More importantly, however, we must create services for the everyday man and woman to solve the bread and butter issues. Ladies and gentlemen, next time someone asks, why are we talking about innovation in Sierra Leone again when we don't have the basics like water, energy, and good education? It would be good to engage them. For me, I often reply with a question, much to the disappointment of my grandmother if she were alive today, because she always told me to never answer a question with another question. I ask, how do we use innovation to ensure we get the basics like food security right? How do we use technology to deliver clean water quickly? And how do we use science to not only predict, prevent, or mitigate the next outbreak, but help us get to the cure faster? Innovation is one sure way of doing it, and Sierra Leone is ready. In conclusion, Your Excellency, the Sierra Leone National Innovation and Digital Strategy is ambitious, yet it is feasible. Government, development partners, and citizens will commit to using science, technology, and innovation to achieve our medium-term national development plan, the African Union's Agenda 2063, and the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. The philosophy and the principles of needs are inclusive of all citizens, aspirational for Sierra Leone, and an invitation to the government and its partners to dream, explore, and create practical solutions that will accelerate human progress. Sierra Leone not only aspires to be a middle-income country with inclusive growth and a resilient economy, it has a goal to do that through educated, empowered, and healthy citizens capable of realizing their fullest potential. The levers of that national transformation are many, and this strategy offers the guidelines to drive our collective action and accountability. Sierra Leone is a small, beautiful, energetic, and well-resourced nation, historically known for being a center of excellence for education in the region. Today, we, as Sierra Leoneans, proudly dream of being the center of excellence for the development, application, and use of state-of-the-art technology and innovation for the benefit of all Sierra Leoneans and mankind, through the philosophy of digitization for all. Thank you. I mentioned to you that I walk into the lab at State House every day, and every day I walk slowly and I breathe in and breathe out, and I think about the problems that we have, and I happily walk in, and every day is new. They are humans, biological machines, who are behind the delivery of all of this, and that is the team at the STI. They're young, primarily trained in Sierra Leone. About 50% of them are women. About two-thirds of the data scientists are women. And half of my leadership are women. I usually churn about would say, but that's still not as high as 95% we're coming. But these humans, as they come on, it's a large team. Many of them are paid very poorly because they are interns. But I'm truly, truly proud to introduce to you, and please, I will beg you to rise up and recognize these humans.
Our next speaker has a very important role, so I won't steal his moment. Someone who has been a critical supporter of this national innovation and digital strategy and an ally of the STI, the Honorable Minister of Labour, Honorable Adekunle King.
Your Excellency, the President and First Lady, colleague ministers, members of the Diplomatic Corps, honorable members of Parliament, all protocol observed. My task here today is to introduce a fine gentleman with a long and distinguished career in the body politic of Sierra Leone. At a time when this great nation of ours was about to be a national embarrassment, he contributed in no small way to the restoration of peace and democracy in Sierra Leone. Again, God Almighty has called him on another mission, and that is to rescue this once Athens of West Africa, the bastion of Western education, the beacon of light from which light spread to the rest of darkness, Africa, but which unfortunately has been plunged into an academic morass. The keynote speaker is a very smart man. He is very strategic in thinking. He is an exciting politician, and he is very Darwinian in logic. Little wonder he coined this political philosophy, Paupa, Salon for better. Whenever you have opportunity to enjoy the company of our keynote speaker, if only you're a fast learner, you'll learn a lot from him by listening and observing his modus operandi. For example, I always enjoy listening to him as a skilled storyteller. And one particular story I enjoy very much listening is the one he will tell about why the dinosaur is not around today, but the cockroach is still with us. He has a quick, marvelous wit for coming up with a deadpan retort that eased the daily tension during cabinet meetings. He is very calm and taciturn personality with a deep sense of purpose and strong faith in God. Thus, when critics and naysayers attempted to play God and said, "Never be your presidency," as a transformational leader, he believed in himself. And as a lamb that was led to the slaughterhouse, he opened not his mouth, but rather, with unshakable faith, that the changes he was pursuing were exciting in themselves and capable of inspiring excitement in others, he launched a Christ-like campaign for the presidency of Sierra Leone. In the presidential campaign of 2018, our keynote speaker for this occasion articulated a significant vision for the people of Sierra Leone in his People's Manifesto, when he said, and I quote, "Under the new direction, the new SLPP government will establish an electronic governance system to manage government business electronically, increase access by public, particularly the rural poor, to all aspects of ICT, protect legal documents by establishment of digital storage centers at remote locations, develop IT infrastructure resilience by multiple backup services for all government documents in all ministries, ensuring health records, land records, etc. are secure. Science teaching will be encouraged in schools and colleges through focused policies in education. This will lead to a growing tool of technical and scientific labor to create a middle manpower pool nationwide." End of quotes. Well, today, the game done big. because a game changer has entered the pitch. A digital president. And our friends on the analog side of the game cannot match his electrifying pace as he commits mind, body, and soul to transform Sierra Leone digitally. Remember, I told you he launched the Christ-like campaign when our Lord and Savior was on his mission on planet Earth. The people rejected him. But when he went to Canaan, there was a marriage there and they ran out of wine. He produced and delivered wine. The people accepted him and chanted, "It is a wonder to see Jesus turn water into wine. I hear the master say, come and dine." Again, when the people were afflicted by all manner of incurable diseases, when he healed them, they chanted, "Anywhere he went, he was doing good. A mighty healer, he cleansed the leper. When the crippled saw him, they started walking. Anywhere he went, my God was doing good." Ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm making is that leadership is about delivery. If you cannot deliver as a leader, then you have lost your right to legitimacy. Today, His Excellency the President is here delivering on a key manifesto promise. I therefore invite you all to be upstanding as we welcome the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone with a chant, Maada.
Sit down, please. Sierra Leone is an interesting place with very interesting human beings. First, I want to, I'm definitely standing on existing protocols. I know the mayor is here, and my beloved wife is here too. But permit me to stand on existing protocols. First, I want to congratulate the DSTI. Can we give them a better round of applause? Thank you. Thank you. That is a team that has been put together in just 1 year. That tells you we can do it. We can do it in Sierra Leone. We want to lead the 4th industrial revolution, and we are going to be in the lead. First, I want to make an announcement that we have passed the MCC scorecard. Thank you. And that information was broached to me by the American ambassador this morning. She says she doesn't normally see me smiling, and she wanted me to come to this meeting smiling. What is interesting is the fact that at the time we took over governance, we were, especially for the corruption, we are 47. Today, we are 78. No, I cheated the other way around. Not like those who cheat. We are actually 79. So we have done a great job. I want to encourage us, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to fight even harder. Corruption is an enemy to everything that we stand for and aspire to. We have started a good fight. We must fight a good fight, and it is a fight we must win in order to get to where we want to go. So, ladies and gentlemen, our result is here. I will give it to the ministers. We will discuss it at Cabinet. Talking about technology, DNA sequencing, we are talking about diseases. I just thought that I should mention one thing. We have a lot of runaway guys who pregnate women and run away and don't associate at all. Well, with that technology we have now, there is no hiding place. Runaway guys, there is no more hiding place for you. You cannot hide from your deeds. We can scientifically prove and connect you to a human being through paternity test. And we are sure, I think 99%. So don't run away if you by mistake. But the best thing is, hands off our girls. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today we are kickstarting the nation's long journey to digital transformation through launching the very first in a series of government efforts in that journey. This transformation is critical to the kind of future we want to build as a nation. A future where technology and innovation will be used to answer a myriad of questions that touches our development as a nation. Today, we are joining several other nations around the world to start this journey. The launch today is just the beginning of a broader effort undertaken by government to lay a groundwork for digital economy. Over the years, I've always pursued rightful curiosity, especially with people with whom I have shared views of the future of our nation. For months, I have been communicating with a host of people, including Dr. Senge, asking them a multitude of questions about possibilities. I was already positively moved by forward-looking views on technology and innovation. So many others I had pondered for years over, like how we can bring corruption to an end in this country. Corruption had brought this country to its knees. Corruption had shredded the very moral fabric of a nation we have forever professed to love. Corruption had sowed deep mistrust between us rulers and the ruled. The cost of governance had been deliberately bloated because of fraud, misuse, and corruption. Effectiveness, efficiency, and transparency in governance processes, revenue collection, public service delivery had been severely thwarted by the failure to imagine how we could do all those things better. How could we use technology to fight corruption and advance the development of the country we call Sierra Leone? There were more questions about coherence in economic and development planning, equity in resource allocation, or establishing the levels of our mineral wealth through the comprehensive national geophysical survey, or instituting transparency in how we draw up our natural resource contracts and the overall governance of the extractive sector, or simply more predictability about managing the environment, or more questions about how to help our rural farmers increase their yield, add value chains, identify disease outbreaks, and increase food productivity and food security overall. And yes, still more questions about the ease of doing business, building a digital economy, developing digital identity for financial inclusion, and more. or using biometric data to improve citizen service delivery, enhance law and order, cybersecurity, national defense, and also reliable data to support the full participation of every citizen in democracy. And more questions about how we could strengthen our civil registration and vital statistics systems, or collect, manage, and interpret critical demographic data for national planning and development. And even more questions about the access to quality health care, or using the power of data, science, and technology to reduce maternal mortality. Provide ambulance services, transport life-saving drugs to hard-to-reach places, training and deploying healthcare workers, building healthcare infrastructure, and even more. Or just using data to understand dimensions of urban housing and poverty, water, sanitation, and health. Or using the power of technology to provide improved access to justice, access to information, and access to quality education fit for purpose in the 21st century. And more in education, using technology and innovation to provide quality education and introduce content in innovative ways, present new forms of pedagogy while improving outcomes and achievement levels for all our students. And more questions about achievable real GDP growth from increased production capacity, startups, and profitable entrepreneurship. Indeed, there were more questions, with the overarching question being how to use technology and innovation to fast-track Sierra Leone along the path of development. We had been excluded in the first and second industrial revolutions by factor of history, and we regret that, I in particular. For the third industrial revolution, we had been consumers and mere spectators. The fourth industrial revolution is here. And I believe that by enhancing the capability and capacity of our population through comprehensive human capital development, we can achieve real economic growth and real development as a nation. That is why I am championing this. I had pondered long and hard over these questions. This largely explains my vision behind the establishment of the Directorate of Science, Technology, and Innovation led by Dr. David Senge. Since the establishment of this outfit, we have made huge efforts in mainstreaming technology and innovation into the workings of government. Therefore, the launch of the National Innovation and Digital Strategy points to how the DSTI has been instrumental in moving this vision forward. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, partners and friends, join me again, everybody, I must say, to give these young people another round of applause. Thank you, DSTI. You are leading the way. They have been fully committed to building a team that has been working so hard to transform the vision of a nation into reality. I want to personally thank David and the entire team for a work well done. So today is not a day of eye-glazing or high-sounding speeches as we normally do. Today, we celebrate collectively as Sierra Leoneans a vision for the future and exhort one another to steadfastly pursue the vision for all of our sake. We have had initial successes, simplified business registration and revenue collection, and therefore reduced the cost of starting and doing business, providing public services, reducing the cost of and instituting more predictability and transparency into governance. We have captured citizens' data with a unique national insurance number, and we have become the first African country to use blockchain technology to establish a national digital identity platform. We are concluding partnerships from as far afield as Estonia, South Africa, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and that rings a bell. Just this morning, I got the great news that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has given a grant of $750,000 United States dollars to the DSTI. Congratulations again. That tells you we are being acknowledged beyond our borders. And that tells you if we work even harder, we can get more. So I encourage each and every one of you. I want this to inspire each and every one of us to make the extra effort to make Sierra Leone a different but better place. And I use this occasion to thank Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for such a generous donation. We are also in touch with Microsoft, MIT, Harvard, Yale, UNICEF, Kiva, and they all continue to enrich and enhance our national innovation vision. We are part of a larger global initiative. For instance, a major new global initiative called GRID 3, Geo-Referenced Infrastructure and Demographic Data for Development, is working with us to help identify the most appropriate strategies for realizing and maximizing power of spatial data revolution. GRID 3 fully embraces the philosophy of building hybrid solutions that work for as many people in as many contexts as possible. For example, GRID 3's method makes it possible for Sierra Leone to map out the entire country's current population distribution, even though our last census was 5 years ago. By leveraging the state-of-the-art data science, remote sensing, and data collection technologies. Our drone corridor project, in collaboration with UNICEF, is the first in West Africa. And there is more. Already, we are using the power of data, even represented through 3D printing. In an earlier video that was shown, data in Sierra Leone now is being transformed into something that is tangible, like this. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to us who are practicing to be part of the fourth industrial revolution. I invite all of you to come and join that club. It's never too late. What I hold here, you may not see very well, but this is actually the map of Sierra Leone. And on the map, it's been layered. Where you have the high peaks, the peaks. What was this data, this particular one I picked? Internet connectivity. We are dealing with quantum data, so it is not big data. Internet connectivity. That tells you our partners in the telecom industry have concentrated quite a lot in Freetown here. This is Freetown, and you can see how high the peak is. The next place is in the south, Bo. And as you go further north, it's almost flat here. That means there's very little connectivity here. And way in the south here. And even some part of Tonkolidi here. So when you take this, it's been transformed into something that is tangible, physical. That is the beauty, and that is what we just did there. That is not an ice cream making machine, as some people would want to believe. That is actually a printer. It's actually a printer. I'm going to take it to cabinet for those cabinets. I have it in my office, but DSTI doesn't need it. We are going to put it in cabinet. Everybody, but everyone is going to get digital. That is for you can't avoid it. You can't avoid it. So, and in fact, in training our own kids, and that is another challenge we have to take as a nation, we have to train them for this. Somebody rightly said here, what we had as education and what we have now is obsolete. As of now, our kids are going to be competing with robots for certain jobs. So let's teach them to know how to code. Let them be the ones creating. They should not be consumers or spectators as we have been. That is our aim. And that has to be the collective aim of this country. We have been behind for too long. We cannot afford to be towing the line. We are going to lead the line. There was another, I don't think it's here today, that tells you where kids, our girls, not able to access schools. It's all printed like this. So even with this, in fact, I think David, you will agree with me that even somebody who is blind can actually feel, and if they know the map of Sierra Leone and know where. So if you put little signs of Braille here, they will be able to read without you speaking to them. So this is data made simple, and it's been interpreted this way for us. This is all happening here in Sierra Leone, and we have to catch up. So our national innovation and digital strategy that I am going to launch today is an overarching vision, but living document. Embedded within it are digital identity, digital economy, and digital governance. Already the government of Sierra Leone, through the Ministry of Information and Communication, is also working on another strategy policy document focusing on developing a digital economy. Both documents are complementary, and there will be another thorough and detailed policy document that we better deepen, broaden, and sharpen our government's vision for using innovation and technology in the 21st century. Sierra Leone aspires to be a digitally inclusive nation in the next 10 years. This is not just in compliance with ECOWAS and AO guidelines, but an intentional move to deploy digitization, both as a solution and as a critical driver for efficient governance and national development. The launch of this document this afternoon is the first step towards unfolding a larger vision that we continue to expand the possibilities for national development in our country. We are not just using technology for technology's sake. We are using technology to make the lives of our people better. With that, I formally launch the National Innovation and Digital Strategy for 2019. And I thank you all for listening.
Please don't tell me this is it.
Sadly, but it is not the end. We told you Donny would adorn you with his voice. Surely he did. Thank you, Donny. Right after the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen, please stay seated until His Excellency and the First Lady leaves the room, accompanied by David. He and the distinguished honorable guests will be ushered to the lobby for pictures and also would be served more demos with a delicious lunch. Afua, it has been nice hosting this with you.
Thank you, Grace. Your Excellency, retired Brigadier Julius Madabio, Her Excellency, the First Lady, Madam Fatima Madabio, Honorable Ministers of Government, Your Worship the Mayor of the Municipality of Freetown, Honorable Members of Parliament, Paramount Chiefs and local elders, heads of parastatals, members of the Diplomatic Corps, development partners, colleagues, students and pupils, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And let's all go create that Sierra Leone we imagined.